Hello and welcome back to another video. As of next week, I turn 40. So I thought time to stop putting this off and actually face up to how I feel about turning 40. Growing up in the 90s, everything seemed so straightforward. You were meant to hit those milestones, get married, have babies, buy a lovely house, and have a good career. I guess on paper, you can say that I have failed at all 4 of those things. So, how do I truly feel about turning 40? It actually hasn't impacted me like I expected it would. And I think that is due to the fact that I still feel 40 is young in the grand scheme of things of life. I still feel the same in my body as I did when I was 20. I also don't think I look all that different. Other people may differ, but I think turning 40 is just a stark reminder that time is passing. I've lived 40 years and I've lost people from my childhood who I thought would still be here. You experience the loss of your grandparents with a sort of acceptance, but I've lost others that I always saw with me in the future. On top of that, women have this biological clock ticking. I've not had children and I haven't got married. I haven't hit those milestones. And it's not a lack of trying. It just didn't pan out the way I expected life to pan out. My parents got sick and I needed to be there for them. That was a decision that I made and I'm glad I did. I spent quality time with my parents and I have very happy memories with them. And I feel you don't have to completely give up hope on having children, as women do have them in their 40s. But I do accept that it's a possibility it won't happen. And if I do want children, it's now or never. In saying that, I'm not unhappy in my life as it is, so I don't see why I would suddenly become unhappy when I realise all the chances of having children are gone. I can devote my life to other meaningful things, and the argument that you need children to care for you when you're old is rubbish. Firstly, no child should be born into a world without you wanting to look after them. Secondly, children become people of their own. They have their own lives to lead. They are not obligated to you. That's not a contract they have signed with you for you to give them life. And thirdly, by the time I reach 80, most likely robots will be doing all the hard work. So the argument to have children to look after you when you're older, I feel doesn't apply nowadays. In saying that, I do feel a bit stuck in my life. Currently, because there's a pressure, a realisation that this could be it. I feel very much like I'm at a crossroads. Do I try to go down this path or do I stay on the same path? That is something for me to figure out this year. Work and career is more of a disappointment to me than anything else because I always thought I would just fall into something. My dad fell into his career as an engineer. So the way he spoke about his starting career was that he joined his father at work, which was at the co-op, and the co-op then suggested he go and survey some milk tankers or something at a local farm. That led him to learning how to draw up piping on graphs, and that led to him going into a career of engineering, just stacking on one top of the other. There would be absolutely no incentive for any company nowadays to do that. And it's really sad. And in fact, I was talking to a friend recently, and he saw an advert on the London Tube for paramedics, and that is how he became a paramedic. He applied and he got the job. But he was saying now you would need a degree in, I think he said, paramedic science. And it seems that the job market gives absolutely no incentive to try different opportunities to see what career you would like to pursue. And I very much felt like at 16, I had to make a choice, exactly what I was aiming for. And I didn't know then. And to be honest with you, I still don't know now. I thought the moment I would start seeing success in a certain career, I would just know that I belong there. But while I've had whatever I do well, but I realise there's nothing that has really. So I've been in retail and a lot of office jobs, which I succeed at, but there's not really a path to go any further beyond. Um, I didn't enjoy management roles, and the office work is, you know, is fine. It pays the bills, sort of thing. I suppose what really sparked my interest was writing, and I did manage to get a publisher in my early 20s. But after two books and low sales, plus me having very little experience, interest, or confidence to market my books or myself, I parted ways and just carried on with my office work. I then went into self publishing, which has been a bit more successful, but I stopped trying to make it my career, and instead it has become a hobby, which means I'm not devoting myself as much time as I would like. But on the plus side, it's taken the pressure away, and I feel there is a lot more happiness now when I sit down to write. It's just I'm not doing it as often as I would like to do it. And then, it's up to people. If they buy it and enjoy it, fantastic. And if they don't, they don't. It's not the end of the world. I'm not staking my mortgage on it. So, yeah, from that point of view, I think it's just figuring out how you want to live and what works for you. And in a way, this works better for me than making it my whole life. But in saying that, if I did make it a career, then I'd be quite happy to devote myself to it. But that probably isn't going to happen. I'll just carry on writing as and when I can. So I guess career wise, I'm now 40 and I'm still clueless. But I've got a good job and it is in healthcare, so it does make a difference to people's lives and it does pay the bills, so it's all worth it. Another thing I've definitely realised with turning 40 is that my hopes and dreams have consistently changed throughout the years. My ambitions have changed and my mindset has changed completely in certain aspects. There are certain things which I had wished for in my 20s, which in my 30s I'm so grateful I didn't get. But I suppose the main focus was always to get married and have children. And strange enough, that's not a predominant feature now. I'm really not that bothered about marriage, and I've already discussed my feelings about children. It just doesn't hold the same importance as it may have once done in my 20s because of how it was projected in society. I no longer feel that pressure. Another idea I had about my future as well was fame, because growing up in the 90s, you saw huge celebrities being chased down the street by paparazzis, and that was my equation to success. If you are successful in anything in your life, that is what it equals to. People want to know you, people want to have pictures of you, people want to read about you, etc. And actually, that filled me with horror because I'm not one who likes attention on me. And when social media came along and lots of ordinary people were becoming famous from it, I just really didn't understand it. And this is where my marketing, I don't know whether I was naive or I just didn't understand it. I just thought, why would anyone be interested in somebody taking pictures of themselves and giving their opinion or showing off, however you saw social media? I really couldn't wrap my head around it. And then, probably about 15 years ago, I found a few people to watch on YouTube that I really enjoyed. And I enjoyed watching them for their ordinariness. That tapped into another change in my mindset on how I was viewing social media. It wasn't to become famous, it was to normalize the normal and be thankful for it. And that, again, just a massive mindset change, that you didn't have to live this extraordinary, grand, over dramatic lifestyle. You can have a family home, you could have quiet time, you could build your life how you wanted to live it. And because there's so many women now showing that side of their life, again, that pressure, that stigma is all reduced. And I feel so much more comfortable in moving into my 40s knowing this is a perfectly acceptable life. Even though we're not the first women in history who have experienced this kind of missed life. I call it a missed life, but that isn't really fair. The generations before us, marriage was their career. After the First World War, many women didn't marry and have children because either there were so few men available, or the ones they were bound to, engaged to, sadly died. They were called the surplus women, but they created meaningful, fulfilling lives through work, volunteering, hobbies, and they were an important contribution to society as a whole. The lesson here is life is what you make it. Aging is a privilege, and we are living with more choices than ever before. Many women today have full independence. We can decide how we choose to go forward in our lives. And everything in life is about a mindset. And I've spoken a little bit about how my mindset changed over the years. I view aging with so much privilege. As a friend recently said to me, there are some people just praying to live another year. You have to find that gratitude. But whenever I do go into a spiral of negativity, I tell myself this: I have a roof over my head and food in the fridge. Some don't even have that. I'm privileged, and everything else that comes my way, such as love, friendship, family, it's the cherry on the top. There is so much to be grateful for. I accept my life for where it is, and I take full responsibility for the decisions I've made to be here. All in all, I'm proud of myself and whatever small achievements I've made. So here is to the next 40 years. Cheers. And if you're turning 40, I wish you a very happy birthday. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.